Students, now the shaft of the femur, the anterior surface of the shaft as well as the lateral surface of the shaft, upper 3/4 of the shaft. The upper 2/3 or 3/4 of the anterior surface and lateral surface of the shaft, as you can see, is covered by vastus intermedialis muscle, this entire muscle. Similarly, anterior surface lower down, if you are able to see these two dots, the anterior surface lower down, there will be origin of articularis genu muscle, which will be inserted in the suprapatellar bursa. So therefore, this is the origin of articularis genu. Then we come across to the shaft posterior surface. When we come across to the shaft posterior surface, this is linea aspera. In the middle 1/3, this is the linea aspera, very sharp ridge, where it will have medial lip, intermediate lip, and lateral lip. The same linea aspera will migrate above, and it will divide into two lines. Medial line will continue as spiral line, and lateral line will merge with gluteal tuberosity. This is the portion where gluteal tuberosity is present. So therefore, linea aspera above, it will continue with spiral line above medially and laterally gluteal tuberosity. Lower down, the linea aspera is dividing into two different lines, as you are able to see. This is the medial supracondylar ridge, this is the lateral supracondylar ridge. Now, structures attached on linea aspera. Be very careful. This is very, very important because in femur, usually this is the question which is asked. What are the structures attached on linea aspera from medial to lateral? The first structure attached will be, as you can see, this line, which I had explained it to you yesterday, vastus medialis. The vastus medialis starts its origin from the lower part of intertrochanteric line. Then it will curve around spiral line. This is a continuous origin of vastus medialis around the spiral line. Then medial lip of linea aspera. And then it will continue till medial supracondylar line, upper 2/3 of the medial supracondylar line. So approximately till this level it will continue, vastus medialis. First structure. Second structure will be just lateral to vastus medialis will be the medial intermuscular septum. Second structure. Third structure will be on the intermediate lip. There will be attachment of erector brevis in the upper 1/3, erector longus in the middle 1/3, and just lateral to it there will be attachment of erector magnus throughout the linea aspera, and lower down this erector magnus will continue on the erector tubercle, which is present in the caudal end of the medial supracondylar line. Till here erector magnus will continue. So therefore, this is the portion where erector magnus will continue till here. Then lateral to erector magnus will be, there will be attachment of posterior intermuscular septum. Lateral to posterior intermuscular septum will be, there will be attachment on the lateral lip of linea aspera of short head of biceps femoris. From the lateral lip of linea aspera, and this biceps femoris short head will extend till upper 2/3 of lateral supracondylar line. Lateral to it, there will be attachment of lateral intermuscular septum. And lateral to it, there will be attachment of vastus lateralis. Now, this vastus lateralis will take origin from the upper part of intertrochanteric line. Then it will continue on the inferior aspect and lateral aspect of greater trochanter. Then it will continue lateral to gluteal tuberosity. Then it will continue on the lateral lip of linea aspera till the middle of linea aspera. That is vastus lateralis. Therefore, total structures from medial to lateral on the linea aspera. We go from medial to lateral, and the first structure will be vastus medialis. Second structure will be medial intermuscular septum. Then third, fourth, fifth structure will be erector brevis, erector longus, erector magnus. Then sixth structure will be the posterior intermuscular septum. Seventh structure will be short head of biceps femoris. Eighth structure will be vastus lateralis. But before vastus lateralis, there will be lateral intermuscular septum. So vastus lateralis will be the ninth structure. So total 9 structures. Once again, from medial to lateral, linea aspera. First is the vastus medialis, then medial intermuscular septum, then adductor brevis, adductor longus, then adductor magnus, then posterior intermuscular septum, then short head of biceps femoris, then lateral intermuscular septum, and then vastus lateralis. Here we finish the linea aspera. Now we come to the lower end of femur. In the lower end, posterior surface, as you are able to see, this is the popliteal surface. The triangular area which is present between medial and lateral supracondylar line, this is popliteal surface. And here two important muscles are taking origin. Number one, the first muscle over here is infерomedial in the angle of popliteal surface, inferomedial. This is medial head of gastrocnemius muscle. And this muscle here, this will be known as the plantaris muscle at the inferolateral corner. So inferolateral corner of popliteal surface, there will be plantaris, and inferomedial corner here, there will be medial head of gastrocnemius muscle. This plantaris muscle will also extend on the lower part of lateral supracondylar ridge or lower part of lateral supracondylar line. Then we come to both the lines, medial and lateral supracondylar ridges or lines. The medial supracondylar line will give attachment to medial intermuscular septum 1, 2, the fibers of adductor magnus, lower fibers. That means the ischial fibers or hamstring fibers of adductor magnus. And number 3, there will be attachment of upper 2/3. In the upper 2/3 of the medial supracondylar line, there will be attachment of vastus medialis, because vastus medialis is extending till upper 2/3 of the medial supracondylar line. So once again on medial supracondylar line, 3 structures are there. Number 1, medial intermuscular septum. Number 2, the lower fibers of adductor magnus. Number 3, the upper 2/3 part will include the lower fibers of vastus medialis. Similarly, lateral supracondylar line. In the lateral supracondylar line, another 3 structures. Number 1, lateral intermuscular septum. Number 2, this is plantaris. So lower 1/3 of lateral supracondylar line, there will be plantaris, and in the upper 2/3 of lateral supracondylar line, there will be short head of biceps femoris. So once again, 3 structures are attached on lateral supracondylar line. In the upper 2/3, there will be short head of biceps femoris. In the lower 1/3, plantaris, and throughout there will be lateral intermuscular septum. Then we come across to these two are condyles, medial and lateral condyle. So therefore, on the lateral surface of the lateral condyle here, this is a projection. This is known as the lateral epicondyle. And on this lateral epicondyle, there will be attachment of fibular collateral ligament. Similarly, on the medial surface of medial condyle, there is a projection which is called medial epicondyle. So on this medial epicondyle, there will be attachment of tibial collateral ligament. Then, just above this medial epicondyle, there is this adductor tubercle. This is the adductor tubercle. So lower part of medial supracondylar ridge and upper part of medial epicondyle both will meet here at adductor tubercle. This adductor tubercle will have attachment of hamstring fibers of adductor magnus. Second important point about adductor tubercle will be epiphyseal line for the lower end of the femur will pass through this adductor tubercle. This is very important. And third feature of adductor tubercle will be, it will serve as bony landmark. So these are the features of adductor tubercle. We go to lateral epicondyle. Just below lateral epicondyle here, this is the groove, which you can feel with your finger also. With your finger, you should be able to feel this groove. So therefore, this groove gives origin to popliteus muscle. So this is the groove for the origin of popliteus and tendon of popliteus below the lateral epicondyle. Above the lateral epicondyle, here you are able to see this muscle. This muscle, which is taking origin just above the lateral epicondyle, is lateral head of gastrocnemius muscle. Lateral head of gastrocnemius muscle. Then we come across to, this is the intercondylar fossa. In this intercondylar fossa, these are the two attachments. So these are the two walls. This is the medial wall, this is the lateral wall of intercondylar fossa. We are looking through the posterior surface. Remember, we are observing this from the posterior surface. So medial wall, in the anterior portion, there will be attachment of the posterior cruciate ligament. This is the attachment of posterior cruciate ligament, where anteriorly medial wall of intercondylar fossa. Similarly, posteriorly, this is more posterior. So posteriorly in the lateral wall of intercondylar fossa, here there will be attachment of the anterior cruciate ligament. Then we come across to capsular line. Sometimes you're asked, show the capsular line attachment. The capsule of knee joint is attached, as you can see this black line. We start from this posteriorly, this intercondylar notch. So this line which is extending from intercondylar notch, this is the capsular line. Then on either side, medial and lateral condyle, the capsular line will pass along the articular margins of the medial condyle and articular margin of lateral condyle. But in lateral condyle, it will pass just above popliteus, the capsular margin. Therefore, popliteus tendon will be intracapsular in origin, because the capsular margin is passing just above the groove for popliteus. Here, this is the groove for popliteus. So capsular margin is passing like this. Medially, the capsular margin will pass along the articular margin. And when both the articular margins from the lateral and medial side, when they meet anteriorly, this is the anterior surface, they will have a break. Here there will be a break. They will remain open for suprapatellar bursa to communicate. This break in capsular margin, this break in capsular lining on the anterior surface will be for suprapatellar bursa. Now we come to the condyles. As you can see, these are the two condyles, medial and lateral. Each condyle will have two surfaces. Number one, anteriorly, this is the patellar articular surface, the patellar articular surface where patella will articulate, and lower down here, these two inferior surfaces are femoral articular surface where femoral condyles will articulate. Now, femoral, this is femur only, but these femoral condyles will articulate with tibial condyles. So it is called tibial articular surface. These are the femoral condyles only. So inferior surfaces are called tibial articular surfaces, where condyles of tibia will articulate with the condyles of femur. Now we come to very important here, ossification center. The entire femur will ossify from number one, primary center in the shaft. So from primary center in the shaft, it will ossify at 7th week of intrauterine life. Secondary centers, the secondary centers for upper end will be 3 and secondary centers for lower end will be 1. So secondary centers for the upper end 3, 1 for the head, which will appear at around 1 year of life. First year of life, at the completion of first year. Approximately it will be between 6 months to 1 year, but this is first year. Then we come to greater trochanter, which will appear at around fourth year, at 4th year of life. Third will be appearance of lesser trochanter, secondary center for lesser trochanter, which will appear at 14th year. So in this way you can remember 3 secondary centers for upper end, 1 year, 4 year, 14 years. Now this lesser trochanter will fuse with the shaft at 16 year. Greater trochanter will fuse with the shaft at 17 year. And head will fuse with the shaft at around 18 years. This completes the secondary ossification centers of upper end. Now lower end. Secondary ossification center for lower end. The secondary ossification center for lower end will appear at 9th month of pregnancy, just before birth. Remember, 9th month of pregnancy just before birth, and therefore it will serve as a very important center in medico-legal cases. This center, secondary center lower end, will fuse with the shaft at 20 years. Therefore, the lower end of femur is known as the growing end. And note down one important point. The upper end, that is the head of the femur and the condyles of the femur, they belong to pressure epiphyses. And trochanters, greater trochanter and lesser trochanter, they belong to traction epiphyses. So with this we end the femur bone. Thank you very much.